saya Putra, saya murid paling garing di kelas ini. Terima kasih.
Hai, nama aku Jeremia. Aku murid pintar di sini. Saya namanya Frenjen. Tapi aku termasuk anak bandar. Oke, makasih.
Hai, nama saya Frenjen. Saya murid yang paling pintar di kelas ini. Yang sebelah itu bukan saingan saya.
Nama saya Renat, saya gamer sejati di kelas ini bersama teman saya yang hilang satu ini.
Halo, nama saya Fendo. Saya menjadi seorang guru yang hanya beberapa menit di dalam kelas.
Kenapa boy?
Belum masuk guru.
Lalu. Siap. Hormat.
Selamat pagi,
Ya, selamat pagi murid-murid. Baiklah murid-murid, ayo buka bukunya. Penjen, tolong hapus foto dulu.
Dia aja, Pak.
Murid paling bandar.
Cepat aku, kita udah mau belajar.
Halo.
Bagus dulu batasnya. Lebih cepat lah. Cukup lah. Hapus semua. Hari ini kita akan belajar tentang asal-usul kehidupan. Siapa yang di rumah telah baca tentang bab tersebut?
Aku udah, Pak.
Aku sudah udah Pak.
Oh, bagus. Jadi kalian ada yang punya pertanyaan?
Apa ya Pak? Pertanyaannya gini Pak. Kemarin kan bahas Pak, yang mana yang duluan? Telur atau ayam? Gimana itu Pak?
Oh, tunggu, ada panggilan dulu ya.
A few moments later. Five minutes later. One eternity later.
Udah baca suara. Ya, padahal aku masih mau belajar. Dari tadi tidur ya kau belajar itu. Oke. nih. Banyak kali dia yang mau belajar.
Ribut kali lah.
Belajarnya deh.
Enak ya lagunya.
Ganti lagi. Ribut kali sih.
Anak kita keluar aja lu mau.
Ribut kali lah. Daripada ikut nyanyi mending belajar biologi.
Siap.
A few moments later.
Halo. Kok sendirian? Kok nggak sama yang lain?
Yang lain lagi di dalam.
Jadi kok sendiri, gabung aja.
Mereka ribut kali, aku kan mau belajar.
Jadi nggak mau ikut ke situ. Saya
Nggak.
kami sekalian mau ke situ.
Enggak lah, kalian aja, saya mau belajar.
Udah kami duluan ya.
Ya,
Bye. Bye.
dadah.
Kalian mau main apa sih? Nanti kalian belajar apa? Orang lagi nanya, kalian nggak bisa jawab ya? Kalian buka kan ya, orang lagi nanya. Yang seru sabar ya.
Tapi apa sih kalian?
Mau bilang cinta tapi pacar teman. Ikutin aja, tembak aja. Apa? Kamu nanya apa?
Gurunya ngajar apa?
Tadi,
Ya.
gurunya. Ngajar. Oh, asal usul. Ah, oke. Tapi gurunya pergi.
Gak balik-balik.
Ini pun istirahat, keluar. Coba kalian cari yang pintar aja. Cucuin di situ dia.
Siapa yang pintar?
Nah, itu dia tahu. Itu dia. Kalau pintar itu. Kalau pintar.
Jadi
Pintar
kalian
aku. Kenapa ada apa?
enggak. Kau terlalu pede. Ketinggian kayak gitu.
Orang pintar kan?
Minum tolak
Enggak ada orang pintar yang ngaku pintar. Cuma
Ya, tadi dia.
Dewe emang bisa sih.
Nah, itu orang pintar udah datang tuh. Tanya dia aja.
Mau nanya apa?
mau nanya, kau udah belajar tentang kehidupan?
Oke, itu ya. Jelas lah, udah siapa dulu aku.
Terus kamu pede kali ya?
Cepat tanya, biar kami ikuti, biar saya buktikan.
Kita mau nanya, tadi kita ada satu pertanyaan tentang mana duluan yang ada, ayam atau telur?
Ayam sama telur beda. Pastilah telur dulu. Kalau nggak ada telur, dari mana ayamnya?
Jadi dari mana telurnya?
Oh iya ya. Kalau gitu kita tanya dulu Jeremnya. Jen.
Apa?
Ini tadi saya ditanya, susah kali pertanyaannya.
Tadi mereka ngomong, katanya kau pintar.
Kau gampang.
Ya.
Ini pertanyaannya. Ayam atau telur dulu? Telur.
Ayam, tanah.
Lucu dia ya.
Iya. Ini
Jadi gimana jawabannya?
ayam. Aku pilih ayam.
Sini dari kanan.
Iya.
Ayam.
Jadi tanah dari mana?
Nah, telur dari mana? Telur dari mana?
Ayam dari mana?
Ayam diciptain.
Telur diciptain juga, baru keluar ayamnya.
Kalau gitu siapa yang ngalamin?
Makanya tangan dulu.
Diam aja.
Kayaknya telur dulu deh. Jadi kalau kalian bilang apa?
Ini ayam.
Kau kalah.
Kalau kamu?
Ayam juga.
Kau kalah. Siapa?
Kita tanya mereka.
Gua tanya-tanya mereka. Woi, yang main game. Game apa?
Nggak pilih dua-duanya.
Nggak boleh gitu dong. Di sini-
Ayam apa telur?
Ayam ada telur.
Tikus.
Sama kayak kita. Ayo, siapa kalian?
Ayam.
Ayam. Ayo.
Kalau gitu nanti kita tanya dulu.
Oh.
Nanti pas dia masuk kita tanya.
Ayam dulu.
Awas kalau aku benar ya kalian semua.
Awas kalau kalian benar ya.
Saya bilang.
Boleh aja. Ini nggak boleh masuk. Kalian jangan cabut. Dan dapat jawabannya kan ayam. Udah.
Cabut.
Nah, turun aja.
5 minutes later.
Pagi teman-teman. Krik.
Dari mana?
Oh, urusan keluarga biasa. Udah berkeluarga.
Dan ikan.
Iya.
Mama.
Aku rasa ada kehilangan orang.
Itu
Gimana?
Bapakku itu, apa di situ?
Gimana dia?
Izin pulang tadi.
Sakit. Orang kayak gitu juga bisa sakit.
Bisa.
Halo.
Kalau itu bisa kan?
Ya,
Oh,
ya.
bisa.
Tadi belajar bio kan?
Enggak.
Gurunya keluar tuh. Keluar. Cari cewek.
Tadi ngajar apa dia?
Pintar yang tahu.
Nah ini nih. Tadi kita belajar ini tentang asal usul kehidupan manusia.
Sama Usul Kehidupan hidup.
Iya.
Kalian ngerti apa dari sini?
Ini yang pintar namanya.
Itulah tadi saya mau tanya gurunya, cuma gurunya ada telepon duluan. Jadi gimana dong?
Gimana? Oh, kita nanya Mister Google aja deh. Coba.
Ya udah.
Oke, kita search di YouTube.
Kita jangan itu.
Nggak ada baterai.
Ada ini aja.
Udah itu aja.
Cari jadi orang. Kota banyak. Anak sultan.
Bisa.
Dikit nggak boleh.
Wah.
Oke ya, ada aplikasinya kan? Apa? Kita search pakai Mbak Google. Apa? Asal,
Usul
Lalu.
kehidupan.
makhluk hidup.
Gak belajar kan?
Asal dari bawah, usul dari
Udah bilang telur.
Oke, kita lihat.
Emang jawabannya ayam kok.
In this module, you will learn about the origin of life. Looking at the pictures of these extinct prehistoric animals, it is difficult to believe that they had once walked on our planet. In fact, the Earth and its numerous life forms were originally different. To understand the changes in life forms on Earth over millions of years, we need to know how life originated. The origin of life forms, or biodiversity, is interlinked with the evolution of the Earth, which is again closely associated with the evolution of the universe. The universe is vast, comprises many galaxies, and is almost 20 billion years old. The Big Bang theory attempts to explain the origin of the universe. According to this theory, a singular huge explosion caused the infinitesimally small, hot and dense universe to expand, which resulted in the lowering of temperatures. It even states that the universe continues to expand even today. After the passage of time, gases such as hydrogen and helium got formed. They condensed due to gravitation and gave rise to different galaxies in the universe. One of the galaxies known to us is the Milky Way, which contains the solar system, and the Earth is one of the planets in this system. At the time of its formation, there was no atmosphere on the Earth. Its surface was covered by water vapor, methane, carbon dioxide, and ammonia released from the molten mass. Gradually, the ultraviolet rays of the sun broke up the water, which was in vapor state, into hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen, being a lighter gas than oxygen, escaped. Thereafter, oxygen combined with ammonia and methane, which led to the formation of water, carbon dioxide, and other gases. The high-energy ultraviolet rays of the sun struck the oxygen molecule and split it into oxygen atoms, which in turn reacted with other oxygen molecules to form ozone, and thus the ozone layer was formed. Some of the water vapor cooled and came down as rain, which filled all the deep depressions on the Earth and formed oceans. It is estimated that life appeared on Earth 500 million years after its formation. There are different theories that try to explain the beginning of life on Earth. Some of them are panspermia, spontaneous generation, biogenesis, and chemical evolution. It assumes that seeds of life exist all over the universe. Therefore, the life on Earth may have originated after one such seed was deposited on the Earth from somewhere in the universe. This theory generates much interest even today. Another belief was that life arose from inanimate things. The theory of spontaneous generation assumed that life came out of non-living, decaying, and rotting matter such as stones, straw, and mud. Even famous Greek thinker and philosopher Aristotle believed in this theory. In fact, this theory was used to explain even Anton von Leeuwenhoek's findings of animalcules using the simple microscope. Moreover, some scientists, such as John Needham, supported the theory of spontaneous generation by conducting some experiments. In one of his experiments, Needham boiled chicken broth in a flask and then cooled it to room temperature in an open container. Later, he sealed this container. After a few days, he observed a few microbes in it. Needham believed that some life force had brought about this spontaneous generation in the chicken broth. The theory of spontaneous generation was in vogue until a German biologist, Rudolf Virchow, challenged it with his theory called omnis cellula acellular, which expounded that living cells can arise from pre-existing cells. However, he could not prove this theory of biogenesis. Later on, Louis Pasteur, with his experiments, proved the theory of biogenesis and forever silenced the advocates of spontaneous generation. In his experiment, he used pre-sterilized sealed flasks with killed yeast. These flasks did not show any signs of life. On the contrary, in another flask, he exposed killed yeast to air. Surprisingly, living organisms were found in this flask. Another theory, called the theory of chemical evolution, was expounded by Russian scientist Alexander Ivanovich Oparin and British scientist John Burdon Sanderson Haldane. They proposed that the first form of life originated from pre-existing non-living organic molecules such as RNA and protein. They also pointed out that the birth of life was preceded by chemical evolution or the formation of diverse organic molecules from inorganic constituents. When the Earth was created, in 1953, American scientist Stanley Lloyd Miller recreated these conditions in a laboratory. He created an electric discharge in a closed flask containing methane, ammonia, hydrogen, and water vapor at 800 degrees centigrade and observed the formation of amino acids. Later on, while conducting similar experiments, other scientists observed the formation of sugars, nitrogen bases, pigment, and fats as well. Interestingly, when meteorite content was analyzed, similar compounds were found in them, which proved that similar processes occurred in other parts of the universe as well. Thereafter, the theory of chemical evolution was most widely accepted. However, there were still doubts about how the first cell came into existence. Cellular forms of life originated around 2,000 million years ago as unicellular organisms in water. It is probable that all life forms originated in a water environment. This theory of chemical evolution, which explains that first life forms arose from non-living molecules through evolutionary forces, is now widely accepted. However, the origin of life is a fascinating and curious topic which will forever invite a lot of debate and speculation. You have now reached the end of this module. In this module, you learnt that the origin of life is interlinked with the evolution of the Earth, which is linked with the evolution of the universe. The universe is vast and comprises many galaxies and is almost 20 billion years old. The Big Bang theory refers to a singular huge explosion which caused the infinitesimally small, hot and dense universe to expand and then cool. Panspermia is the oldest theory expounded by the Greeks, which assumes that units of life called spores were transferred to different planets. The theory of spontaneous generation believed that life came out of decaying and rotting matter such as straw and mud. Louis Pasteur founded the theory of biogenesis, which explains that life comes only out of pre-existing life. The theory of chemical evolution, which states that the first life forms arose from non-living molecules through evolutionary forces, is now widely accepted.
Hai kawan-kawan, jangan lupa ya ikut kami dengan cara
Teknik ekspresi biologi kirim ke 7288.
like, comment, and subscribe.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye!